thing, which is going after the Troll Berserker first, and he's using his speed scroll to his advantage. Once again, devouring the water elementals, this way they can't get picked off, and he has a great shot at his casters, which really aren't there. I could have sworn I saw a sorceress at one point, but whatever. Really, what he's done with the TP is he's really just gained an experience advantage. Right now, you'll notice he does have a couple weak units, and if you are going to lose a Kodo Beast, it is worth TPing out, because even though you're, wasting 350 gold to save a 255 gold unit, you're also, devouring things, so pretty much you're not wasting as much money because you're saving a 255 gold unit, and you're pretty much killing one of their units anyways. Here's the kind of gayness that is Quill Beasts. They are quick, so they can dodge a whole bunch of those stupid devours and stuff. But the one thing that's great is that Shaman really counter them fairly easily. Now, the only problem with this strategy is it's kind of weak to things like Sorceress. Now, you'll see the Tower Push already gets eliminated, basically because of the lack of Sorceress, which is, kind of lame as a human, but it's really great as an Orc. Another thing, you do lose the Raiders, but it really doesn't matter because you do have Purge. The only thing that you won't be able to, purge and stop, because that's pretty much what Purge does, and that's what the lack of Ensnare does, is that you don't have the ability to kind of eliminate Breakers, so you really have to play the positioning game with your Kodo Beasts and do as much Devour as possible. Now, Breakers are kind of expensive for a melee unit, especially compared to Grunts, but they do prove their uses, so even though they are kind of expensive and they do kind of pump out slowly, this way it's kind of good because you'll be able to match them in Kodo Beasts fairly easily compared to other units, because they will need, the ample amount of Sorceress and the ample amount of Priests just to be able to really get you over even more. The one thing that Priests really do is nothing. All they have is Dispel, which will be able to get rid of some Wolves. But if they're doing the smart thing and just abusing the Mercs, they won't really need, Priests, especially because the Shadow Priest does a lot more damage output. So you'll notice that nice use of Purge to get some good positioning on the Archmage. One thing that the human player has done wrong is he's focused some, Kodo Beasts that really don't have anything devoured, which is the one thing that you want to focus on. You'll notice that he's not devouring any of the casters, though, which is smart, because really you want to keep your Kodo Beasts in the back line, and you don't really want to risk sending them out front to kill a Sorceress. Pretty much because, especially with the Purge and the Devour, the human doesn't really have a meat shield, and you really want to make sure that even though, they don't have anything to really get rid of your Kodo Beasts, the fact that they can be slowed and the human can summon a little more, you want to you just want to play it safe and keep your Kodo Beasts out in the back. Also with the Shaman, which is why you kind of keep producing Grunts. You kind of want to have about 3 or 4 Grunts out front. This way, you have a line in front, which means you can just sneak a Kodo Beast around, like, between some Grunts and devour and then run back. Really, just Grunts are great for, keeping your positioning. He is picking up one Raider here. I believe he picks up another one eventually, but he doesn't really hit low upkeep. But really, the only use for the Raider is to get rid of any possible breakers, or to ensnare and stop him from running away with, breakers. Otherwise, it would be pretty useless to get a Raider, because all it is really is damage output and stopping things from running away even more than you are already. The one thing that he doesn't really do this game is he doesn't use the advantage of the Tauren Chieftain with the Lightning Shield. And the one reason is he's kind of low on mana all the time, because he's keeping so much pressure on the human player that you really want to just keep using your Purges to stop them from running away. Use them on the summons, because it turns into free experience. So pretty much the Beastmaster got GG'd, as you saw there, due to some nice purging action and a really nice ensnare, actually. So one thing that Rotterdam does have is the speed scrolls, which is really the perfect counter to stupid slow. And by stupid slow, I mean stupid slow. So the great thing about the speed scroll also is it actually makes your Kodo Beasts kind of twice as deadly, because even though they can be slowed, especially like early on in the battle, if they speed scroll in and devour your spell breakers, you're really screwed in the long run, because then all they really have is free shots at your casters, and that's really not what you want to have. and you really don't have any more counter to their Shaman, which is pretty brutal when trying to summon to actually kill one of the Kodo Beasts. So your caster killing and your Kodo Beast killing has just been, completely demolished by this really nice combo of Shaman and Kodo Beasts. So really, I don't know why this isn't used more often. It's kind of old school, but the one thing that I'm pretty sure is why is because, Spirit Walkers have become so much more useful, especially with the whole patching, and the ability to actually, dispel things is great, especially with the Spirit Link. But the one thing that the Spirit Walkers, don't really have is the ability to keep positioning. Like, Spirit Walkers and Raiders really don't do as good a job of countering the summons, because Purge does a lot more to summons. You still don't lose the whole ensnare thing, which is what you get with Spirit Walker Raider. The only thing you get with Spirit Walker Raider is a better chance to counter the slow. And really, if you want to counter the slow and that's it, you really want to be doing the Spirit Walker Kodo Beast, or the Spirit Walker Raider thing, because you just kind of speed scroll, you do some ensnare, and you try and go straight for their casters while they kind of beat up on your Spirit Walkers. I just don't find it's as solid of a strategy, because, you lose the Lightning Shield, which is great if you have a Tauren Chieftain, especially because you can just send him right to the casters and really beat on stuff. You lose the ability to Devour, which is great for the stupid Spellbreakers, which counter Raiders incredibly well. And they also have, the ability to counter your Spirit Walkers fairly well, because they can steal the Spirit Link, so you really lose that advantage. Also, he is adding a few more Raiders to really account for the fact that he can steal some Breaker kills on the way and stop them from moving to gain a little better position. He is keeping a few Grunts with him because they are pretty good damage output, and the one thing that I was told, actually, from, I forget who it was, someone on the forums though, it wasn't really told directly to me, but it was told to a bunch of people, is that keeping Grunts with you, that means they get targeted. And the fact that they have 800 hit points and they're being targeted is pretty great, because you gain all this time from them targeting your stupid Grunts, which are pretty useless anyways. All they really are 200 gold. And they just kind of sit there and take it. So really, if you keep Grunts with you, they're just going to focus on those anyways while you take down their casters. So it's kind of a good thing to keep those with you anyways. Kind of a base trade type thing going here. Rotterdam's losing pretty much all of his burrows, but he's doing the smart thing, which is bringing all his peons with him. That way, even though he can lose his base, he can still gain a pretty good advantage by just building some units there, so that there will actually have to be some confrontation. So he's kind of in a really bad position, the human, because Rotterdam's really using his base build against him, which is he's kind of pinched him in a spot between his, his Grunts and Raiders, so he can't really get out and start focus firing the Shaman, which is really the best thing that you want to be doing to counter this strategy anyways. And it's really doing a toll, so it's kind of GG. So the one thing that you want to remember when doing this strategy is always, devour the Spellbreakers first. Those are the key things to be devouring with your Kodo Beasts, and you kind of want to keep pressure on them all the game. Sure, wasting a TP here and there isn't a bad thing, especially if you're devouring a Spellbreaker and running away.